Okay, this is a very dangerous game. Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing something very fun, very exciting, fall TBR. Woo! I have already made the TBR because I'm gonna be completely honest. I made a whole video of me picking out the books, but when I got to the editing, I just wasn't vibing with it anymore. And I'm not trying to put stuff out here that I'm not vibing with. So I'm refilming, but we're gonna switch it up a bit. I'm not gonna pretend to be picking it all out of the shelves because it's kind of silly. So we're just gonna discuss my fall TBR and maybe give you ideas if you need to pick your fall TBR or if there's anything you forgot to add to yours. Whatever, you know. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm very excited to talk about my fall TBR. It's big. It's big. There's 32 or 34. So we got a lot of reading to do in the next 3 months. And fall, I'm counting as September 1st to, what's the last day of November? That is, quote unquote, what I'm having as fall. I'm just gonna start winter being December 1st. I don't know if that's what people follow it as, but that's what I'm following it as. Which also means I don't put up Christmas decorations until December 1st. That's besides the point. Let's get into the fall TBR. Alrighty, forewarning before we get started. We've got bushes being trimmed right outside my window, so if you hear that noise, I apologize. But on to it. I have my whole list on my iPad, so I wouldn't forget. And I mainly have this to not only keep track, so I can do a little check, but also I have a few that aren't out yet as of today, so I don't want to forget about them, obviously. So we're going to start with those ones. First book we're going to start with is The Damned by Harper L. Woods. It comes out October 7th. It is the third book of a series that includes The Coven and The Cursed. I enjoyed these books. I think I rated them in the 3 range. So I'm intrigued to see the next, because I think, let's go back a second. It's a whole series, but these two were about one couple, and I believe The Damned is about another couple. And I don't want to say who it is because it spoils the ending of The Cursed. But yes, I'm excited for The Damned. The next book that has yet to be released is Bonds of Hercules by Jasmine May. It comes out October 28th. The first book of the series is Blood of Hercules. I did read this, I think in the beginning of this year I read this, and I'm very intrigued to see where it goes. October 28th, around that time I will be reading the second book. I might do a reread of this before then just to refresh, but I believe I remember the majority of it. Maybe I'll just like listen to it on an audiobook or something. But yes, Bonds of Hercules, October 28th, I will be getting that, and it's on my fall TBR. The next book is Chasing the Wild by Elliot Rose. It is a part of the Crimson Ridge series, which I have started up here. However, the one book I did not get is Chasing the Wild because they stopped selling it because it's being traditionally published September something. Within the next week or two, I believe it comes out traditionally. And I didn't get it before the indie cover went out of print, so I don't have it physically, obviously. But that is on my fall TBR as well. Sin Bin by Chelsea Curto. Okay. This I couldn't be more excited for. It's one of my most anticipated releases for the fall. It is the 5th book. Ooh, I almost said 4th. The 5th book of the DC Star series by Chelsea Curto. Before that, I have them. Let me get the plants out of the way. I have them right here on my shelf. We have Face Off, Power Play, Slapshot, and Hat Trick. I love the series. It's one of my favorite romance book series. The 5th book, Sin Bin, it's the coach of the DC Stars and one of his players' sisters. I'm very excited about it. And then the next book for my TBR is Soul Searching by Lila Sage. It comes out September 30th. So excited. This is her first release post Rebel Blue Ranch series, which I also have up there. I love that series, and I'm very excited to see what else Lila Sage can do, because this was cowboy romances, and Soul Searching is, what's the word I'm looking for? Not spooky. It's definitely like Halloween fall vibes. blanking right now, but you guys need to pick it up. I'm very excited for it. The cover is gorgeous, and I saw Lila Sage posted a video the other day of her opening the boxes, or a box of a bunch of copies that she got of them, and I was like, that looks so good. I'm so excited to pick it up. And then we're coming back to Chelsea Curto because on October 8th, before Sin Bitten comes out, Chelsea Curto is releasing In the Dark. It's her first ever dark romance. I'm so excited. I'll read anything Chelsea reads. But yes, she's delving into dark romance with In the Dark. I'm so excited. That comes out October 8th. However, before that, the day before that, October 7th, Mate by Ali Hazelwood comes out. I'm very excited about it. I haven't read Bride yet, which I might as well just talk about now. Bride by Ali Hazelwood is also on my fall TBR along with Mate, and I wanted to read Bride a little bit closer to Mate. So I'm definitely going to read this in the beginning of October to then hop right into Mate, which comes out October 7th. Which then will bring me to Quicksilver, because I was going to read this earlier in the year. It is a part of my 2025 TBR. However, the second book, Brimstone, is coming out November 18th. And I wanted to read this closer to that, since I'd love to reread, but I have so many other books that I need to read for the first time that I don't want to spend as much time rereading books. As much as I would love to, I feel like I gotta read a few more books that I haven't read yet before rereading. So we're just holding off until it's closer to Brimstone to read Quicksilver. So those are 2 more on the fall TBR. So then that's the end of the books that I don't have yet, because they aren't released yet. So let's go to all the physical ones that I have. I have the books in piles by genre, so I'm trying to decide which genre we should do first, because I have romance, fantasy / romantasy, and then I have 3 mystery / thrillers. I don't read mystery or thrillers too often. I have 4 mystery / thrillers. Anyways, I don't read them as often as fantasy and romance, but I'm trying to broaden my horizon a bit, and what better time to do that than in the fall, because mystery thrillers just go great in the fall. So maybe we'll start with those. Okay, first we're gonna start with The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I've been meaning to read this for freaking ever. I've read the Inheritance Game series by her. I only read the first 3 of that. Now there's just so many being released that are like connected to it. I'm kind of like, but I read the first 3. I like the series. I still have the series. Maybe I'll reread them again one day. I don't know. But I've heard so many good things about The Naturals. And I've heard if you love Criminal Minds, you'll love this. And I love Criminal Minds. So I'm very excited to delve into this. I'm excited to dive into this world and solve some mysteries, murder type deal. And then we're gonna dive into Riley Sager with The Only One Left. I have never read a Riley Sager book before because, as I mentioned, I haven't really explored mysteries or thrillers yet. So we're gonna start with this one. I've heard really good things about The Only One Left. I've heard good things about Riley Sager in general, but I've heard a lot of good things about this one, and it seems so interesting. So we're gonna dive into it. And then another mystery is Listen for the Lies by Amy Tanturo. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I've heard to listen to the audio at the same time because it's very immersive. Like when they're talking on the podcast in the audio book, it actually sounds like a podcast being recorded. So I'm very intrigued by that. So I think I'm gonna dual listen while follow along with this book. I'm very excited. And then lastly, for mysteries / thrillers, we have Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. I'm so intrigued by this. Okay, so I gotta check the character's name. Jet. She is the daughter of a very wealthy family, and one night she gets attacked during a break-in. Yes, there's an unseen intruder. She is attacked by them, and she has a head injury, which will lead her to die within the next 7 days. So she has 7 days to find out who has killed her. So I'm like very intrigued about this. It takes place on Halloween night, so I'm probably going to read this. I'm going to for sure read this around Halloween. I'm so excited. I've read Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, and I really enjoyed that. And then I watched the adaptation at Netflix. I have mixed feelings about it because they took a lot out of the book and kind of changed it for the show, and I was kind of like, oh. But alas, I'm very excited to read this. Next, we are going, I think we're going to go into the romance, leave the fantasy for last. That's what we're going to do. So first off, we're going to start with The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. This is the first book of the series that takes place in this small town. I tried to read this last year during the fall, but I just like wasn't in the mood for it. Like I made it through like 2 chapters and I was like, so we're gonna pick it up and try it again because I just adore this cover and all the covers of this entire series. She has another book coming out in September, The Gingerbread Bakery, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not gonna add that to the TBR because I have to read this plus the three others that are already out. So I want to read them in the order of their release because I don't know if there's any of the characters from the other ones in there. You know what I mean? So we're just gonna read it in published order, which starts with Pumpkin Spice Cafe. And then next, I'm so excited for this one, Homebound by Meredith Trapp. She's a cowgirl. He's a hockey player. I think that's all you need to know. That's like 2 of my favorite romance genres. Subgenres. Speak, Caitlin. Cowboy/cowgirl, small town, and hockey romance. Those are like my 2 favorite subgenres, if you can call that, or tropes. Not tropes. I don't know. Subgenres. I'm gonna go with subgenre. Why can't I say subgenre? Genre. Anyways, those are my 2 favorite types of romance books to read. And now it's in one book. So excited for this. We're gonna read this month. And then one we shouldn't be surprised about if you've seen other videos on my channel. I've had this book on my TBR the past few months of my TBR, and I'm determined to get through it in the fall. ACOTAR, at least the first book. I would like to read the whole series the rest of this year, but for sure the first one, this one, is on my 2025 TBR. So we have to read this in the fall. And also, I think I'm like one of 2 people who haven't read this series yet. And I do have a Throne of Glass series, but I'm not going to read that until after this one because I've heard to read this first. Alrighty. And then, technically I've already read this because it's already past September, so I've already started reading from this TBR, and one of them I have read already is Wild Card by Elsie Silver. Gorgeous color. I just love Elsie's books. I have all of her. I have a whole shelf dedicated for her books. Love this one. But yeah, this is a part of the TBR. I have read it already. But if I hadn't, I'd say I'm very excited to read this. And then we have a series that is on my 2025 TBR. I started it last year and I never finished it, so I have the rest of the series on my 2025 TBR, which is the Eden series. I only brought the ones down that I haven't read yet. Garnet Flats, Jasper Vale, Crimson River, and Sable Peak. Well, as of today, I actually have read Garnet Flats, and I'm currently reading Jasper Vale. Like, literally, I have my bookmark in it. But these are on my fall TBR. And you know I'm re-recording this. Anyways, so we have the rest of the series along with... No, I didn't put these on my fall TBR. There are 2, like, side stories that take place in Quincy, Montana. We have the Legacy book, Legacy of the Edens. I don't remember for sure what it's called. And then Christmas in Quincy, but I'm saving those for wintertime since A Christmas in Quincy. That's besides the point. These are the books on the fall TBR. Let's move on. Okay, another new release, people watching, Hannah Bonham Young. I will be reading this very shortly, sometime in the next few weeks, if not, but definitely beginning of October. This cover is just gorgeous. I don't know what else to say. And it sounds so good. I am so sorry if you can hear. That is so annoying. Can we try to block it out? Thanks. Anyways, Hannah Bonham Young's People Watching, gorgeous cover. I've heard a gorgeous story, so I'm excited to read this as well. And then this is a newer addition to the TBR. I'm going to be completely honest. This was not on my fall TBR when I first recorded the TBR, but I got this and I want to read it in the fall because it just gives more of that vibe to me. Leave Me Behind by K.M. Moranova. I said it right this time. I was making a TikTok of a book haul when I got this and I like stroked out reading her last name for some reason. But this is a newer addition to the fall TBR. This was not on here during my first record of my fall TBR, but it gives very much dark vibes. And I also don't have any dark romances on my list. This is the only one because I added it now. So, very excited for this. Very intrigued about this. I've heard good things about it too, so. Our one and only dark romance in the fall TBR. That's wild. Alrighty, and then the next one is a part of my 2025 TBR as well. Love Arranged by Lauren Asher. This is her newest release. It just came out end of August, I believe. I have not read it yet, but I'm very excited. It's the last book of the Lakefront Billionaire series, and I really enjoyed the other two. I believe I gave them both 5 stars, so I'm anticipating this to be 5 stars as well, and I've heard good things about it. And then the last romance book in my fall TBR is King of Envy by Anna Huang. This is her newest release. She has another release coming out in November. She has The Defender coming out. I haven't read The Striker yet. That is on my 2025 TBR, and so is King of Envy. I just anticipated reading King of Envy before The Striker, hopefully. I really need to read both because they're both on my 2025 TBR. But I'm hoping to read this more in the fall, and then The Striker probably in December. So I feel like fall is the perfect time for fantasy, which is why we're saving fantasy for last. I did already mention Quicksilver and Bride because of Brimstone and Mate coming out in October and November. Let's start with the paperbacks. So the first one is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Sea of Monsters. Season 2 of the Disney Plus TV show comes out December 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm gonna be honest, I've never read Percy Jackson before. I read the first book after the first season of the show. But I'm not one to do that. Like, read the book after I've already seen it, because like it kind of just like I'm like I don't know, it kind of ruins it for me in a way. But I did read that one because I wanted to read the books before the new seasons, so we're gonna read this in the fall right before season 2 comes out to kind of like hype it up even more. What a great show, by the way. So I'm excited for that. We're gonna prep for it by reading the second book. So the next book is a book I've had forever on my TBR, like probably one of the first ever books on my TBR, but I've been so intimidated to read it because I've heard so many people cry about it because it's sad. And that makes me intimidated because I haven't been in the mood to want to cry because it happens enough in my life. But Song of Achilles. I've heard so many good things about it, and I want to read it oh so bad, and we're gonna finally do it this fall. I'll keep you updated on how it goes. And then next, we have Of Withering Dreams by Rowan Adelaide. This is a local author in Wisconsin. I did pick this up at Thirst Books in Milwaukee, and I got fun little goodies, and it is signed. I also got the second book of the series, which is why I want to read this book in the fall. And I've heard very good things about it. I haven't seen many reviews on it, but all the reviews have been really good. And I'm really excited and I'm intrigued about it, so we're going to read this in the fall. And then last of the paperbacks, and then we'll go in the hardcovers, is another book on my 2025 TBR, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This one has also always intimidated me for some reason. I don't know if it's just the cover or what it is, but I've always been like kind of scared to read it, even though I know I would like it. We're gonna dive into it in the fall. I've been waiting all year to read it. It just seems to be more fall than any season. I don't know if that's true. We'll find out when I read it, I guess. But we're gonna finally get to it. Alrighty, and if it seems like I'm screaming, it's because I'm trying to block out the noise of the bushes being trimmed. So I apologize if it's a little loud. We're gonna get to the last part of the fall TBR, the fantasy hardcovers that I have. So first, we're gonna start off with Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. My friend Maddie, go watch her videos. She's been begging me to read this forever. So Maddie, we're finally gonna get to it. You're welcome. And then next, I want to read about dragons. So we're going to read Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. I love this cover. It has caught my eye for so long, and that's why I picked up this book in the first place. We're going to get back into dragons with Fear the Flames. And then next, we're going to hop over to some vampires, if I'm not mistaken. On Wings of Blood by Briar Boylan. I think I butchered that. It is the first book of the Bloodwing Academy series. I believe it's a trilogy. All the books are out. It's just being traditionally published, which is why I have it hardcover. So I'm for sure going to read the first one. Hopefully I'll read the other two as well. But yes, On Wings of Blood, very intrigued by this book, very excited. Vampires, perfect for fall. And then next, we have Immortal Dark. I always call it Dark Immortal, which is not right. It's Immortal Dark. The second book in this series, Eternal Ruin, I believe, comes out in October. So I want to read the first book beforehand, and I've heard great things about this book. And I love I love the sprayed edges. It says no soul can enter without an invitation. And I've heard good things about it. Maddie has read it, said it was great. I've seen Heather on TikTok talk about it. One of her recommendations for fantasy. So I'm very excited to read it. 2 more books. First one is Arcana Academy. It is fake engagement. And I'm very intrigued by the magic system with this. It has to do with tarot cards. I don't know specifically what yet, obviously, since I haven't read it. And I'm very intrigued by that. Because I feel like I haven't seen any other fantasy books that base its magic system around tarot cards. If there are any more, let me know. I would love to find some more. Tarot cards intrigue me. I never understand how it works, but it sounds very intriguing. I'm excited about this. This is book 1 of how many, I don't know, but I'm still very excited. And then last but not least, we've talked about this author before. We're going to read 2 of her books in the fall. The second one being Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. Sapphic vampires, anybody? Yes, please. That's why we will be reading this in the fall. Perfect time, and I'm very excited. I've heard so many good things about V.E. Schwab, and for some reason I've always been intimidated to read her books. But we're gonna get over that by reading Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and Bury Our Bones in Midnight Soil. Okay, this is a very dangerous game. I've piled all the books I have physically. You can't even see them all. They're out of frame, falling off of each other. But yeah, this is my very ambitious fall TBR. I believe there's somewhere between 32 to 34. Let's hope I can read them all. We're going to try as best as we can. I've never been the best with TBRs, but I am very intrigued by all of these. I'm so scared to move. I'm very intrigued by all of these. So we're going to try our best to read them all. And there's some suggestions for you as well. If you haven't added some of these, or if you haven't made your fall TBR yet, who knows? But let me know what you think of any of these books. What you thought, if any of these are also on your fall TBR. Were there any you didn't like? Let me know your thoughts below. But yes, thanks for watching. I'm going to put this down before they topple over and I ruin all my books. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!